Part 18. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 171. The staff, who had never seen her before, could not help but be shocked by Nan Yan's sudden appearance of stunning beauty. Especially the venue manager. I kind of understand why she has the confidence to say that the live broadcast will cost money. This is definitely a vase that eats with its face. You said it was private. BeautifulFemaleLead sneered at Nan Yan's proposal, subconsciously trying to ignore the intimidation he felt from the girl. But then, he had an idea in his mind and said, "Okay, then I will make 3 conditions. As long as you agree, I will not hold him responsible." "Okay," Nan Yan replied expressionlessly, "you can bring it up." Anziran's expression changed and he quickly stopped him. "Yan, you don't have to worry about him. 4th brother will be detained for a few days at most. It's okay. BeautifulFemaleLead will definitely embarrass Yan. He doesn't allow it." "Shut up," Nan Yan glared at him coldly. "I'm very angry now and don't want to talk to you." "Anziran. He is so pitiful. Being scolded like this by my own little sister." Seeing Anziran shut her mouth honestly, Nan Yan continued to look at BeautifulFemaleLead. "You say it?" This scene surprised the people around him. After all, Anziran has always been powerful, giving people the impression of being cold and venomous. Even the organizer's face depends on his mood. But he was so obedient in front of his sister? A strange glint flashed in BeautifulFemaleLead's eyes. First, he has to withdraw from this competition and will not be able to play the entire game. Okay, Nan Yan agreed to the condition for Anziran without any hesitation. "Second, my injury cannot be in vain. Since you asked for 100 million before, you can give me 100 million now as my damages." Anziran said angrily, "BeautifulFemaleLead, if you are short of money, how about I burn 1 billion to you?" 100 million? Why did he really dare to speak? "Okay, 100 million, I'll give it." Nan Yan's tone was cold, and the expression on his face did not change at all. By the way, after she finished speaking, she glanced at Anziran with a warning look. Success made him shut up again. "Say your 3rd condition. As for the 3rd one, why don't you, instead of your 4th brother, apologize to me and treat me to a meal?" "What the hell?" Anziran exploded when he heard that he wanted Nan Yan to accompany him to dinner. Before the explosion was over, Nan Yan thought he was talking too much, so she clicked on his throat. "Anziran. Horror. He can't speak. What kind of ability is this, little sister? Can it also cause someone to lose the ability to speak?" Anziran kept opening and closing his mouth. After confirming that he was really speechless, he looked at Nan Yan aggrievedly. He is her 4th brother after all. Can you save some face for him? I promise you these 3 conditions. To prevent you from failing to keep your promise, please sign an agreement. Refreshing, BeautifulFemaleLead's eyes lit up. "It's only 100 million, I want it to be paid immediately. After signing the agreement, it will be given to you naturally." To be honest, others don't believe Nan Yan's generous attitude. She acted like she was going crazy because she was short of money. How can it be said that if you take out 100 million, you can take out 100 million? However, when she drew up the agreement and both she and BeautifulFemaleLead signed it, after it came into effect, in front of everyone, Nan Yan asked for BeautifulFemaleLead's account number and directly transferred 100 million. The account arrival reminder shocked everyone. Is this girl rich or short of money? She can move 100 million in cash in one breath without blinking an eye. How about she be a super rich woman? The steward couldn't help but feel a little regretful because of his previous short-sightedness. It turns out that they asked for 100,000 yuan, which was really a friendly price. If you put that 100 million in cash in the bank, how much interest would you earn in a day? BeautifulFemaleLead looked at his mobile banking in disbelief. He mentioned this 100 million just to humiliate and embarrass Nan Yan. I never expected that she could really come up with so much. Suddenly having 100 million in liquidity, he was almost going crazy with excitement. The beating this time was worth it. Not only did Anziran, a strong rival, not be able to play in the game, but he also received a huge sum of 100 million, and even had the opportunity to go to dinner with Nan Yan, which would make it easier to complete the tasks left by his cousin. Simply kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Bai Hoxuan was quite satisfied with the result. Then he proudly glanced at Anziran, whose eyes were full of anger, and asked someone to help him to the hospital. Hashtag. After Bai Hoxuan left, Nan Yan casually restored Anziran's voice and said unhurriedly, "I heard that you are missing one person to host the season. Why don't you let my 4th brother go? Anyway, he doesn't have to participate in the competition, so he will be idle if he is idle." Organizer. Can it still be like this? But then I thought about it, it's indeed possible. Anziran has a large fan base, and many people come to watch esports just for him. And his face is indeed a good one, and he is responsible for the good looks of an esports player. It would be a pity not to appear on screen. At that moment, the person in charge of the organizer said, "Okay, I will discuss it with the other people in charge. If there is no problem, then Mr. N will fill the host's vacancy. Mr. N's temper is still too impulsive. I hope this time, Mr. N can learn a lesson and be calmer in the future. Thank you for your kindness." Nan Yan thanked Anziran on his behalf. "If there is nothing else, my 4th brother and I will go back to rest." "Okay, I will notify you too after it is confirmed." After everything was settled, Nan Yan pulled Anziran away expressionlessly. "Yan Yan, I..." At this moment, Anziran felt nervous and guilty as if he was caught by the teacher for making a mistake at school. No, it was much more serious than that. After all, he was a school bully when he was in school, and he was not afraid of the teacher, nor was he afraid that the school would find his parents. He was really nervous now, and he didn't even know how to explain. Nan Yan glared at him coldly, "You'd better not talk now, so that I won't be able to hold back my anger and blow your head off." "Anziran, my little sister is really fierce. He is so cowardly." Anziran took a deep breath and suddenly said seriously, "Yan Yan, 4th brother will work hard to make money and help you save up 1 billion as soon as possible. I want to go with you to dinner with Bai Hoxuan, and I can't let him bully you." Nan Yan opened the door of her room with the room card and raised her chin, "Go in and talk." "Oh." Anziran followed Nan Yan in, unable to suppress the entanglement in his heart, and couldn't help asking, "Yan Yan, how do you have so much money?" He was really curious. "How long has it been since my little sister moved out of the Nan family? Before, she didn't even have money to buy a piece of clothing, but now she can transfer hundreds of millions of cash without blinking an eye. It's been less than 2 months. How can you start from scratch and earn so much?" Nan Yan didn't answer his question, turned around and looked at him directly. "4th brother, there are no outsiders now, tell me, why do you want to do it to Bai Hoxuan? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss." Author, Junanan. Chapter 172. With Anziran's temper, he shouldn't be so impulsive. There must be something inside. "Yan Yan," he used vicious words to scold me, and I couldn't hold back for a moment, so. Anziran didn't want Nan Yan to know what Bai Hoxuan said. Now that he had beaten him up, it was meaningless to say those things that made Yan Yan angry. He didn't regret beating Bai Hoxuan at all. The only regret was that because of him, Yan Yan was dragged down again. Nan Yan raised her hand and patted him on the shoulder, saying with a serious tone, "You are so old, learn to control your temper in the future, remember, impulse is the devil." Anziran. Why did he feel that their identities as brothers and sisters were exchanged? Nan Yan didn't care what he was thinking, poured a glass of water, drank a sip, and said in a calm voice, Call the other teammates over, and leave the rest of the competition to me. Oh. Anziran was very relieved to let Nan Yan manage the team instead of him. During this period, she and the team members have been running in, and the strength she has shown, the team members have long been convinced by her, and no one will disobey her discipline. After notifying the teammates, he said worriedly, the money will be earned back by the fourth brother as soon as possible. Yan, you must not do anything illegal because of lack of money. My money is not so easy to take. Nan Yan put down the water cup in her hand carelessly. That little money is just temporarily kept by him for a few days. By the way, double it. The interest rate for touching her money is very high. Anziran looked at Nan Yan's appearance that she didn't seem to be joking, and inexplicably felt that the little sister really had a way. Compared with the little sister, he seemed so useless. Anziran was hit hard in his heart, and he cheered up again, and reminded, if you need the help of the fourth brother, Yan, you must speak up. Nan Yan looked at him and said slowly, then I'll ask you to take care of yourself and don't cause me trouble. Anziran. Is he so thoroughly despised? Hashtag. Soon, the news of Anziran being banned spread like wildfire. As for who leaked it, you can guess it with your eyes closed. Anziran's fans couldn't accept it, and went to the official website of the organizer to ask them to give an explanation. Some fans also went to Anziran to verify. But Anziran has not responded yet. BeautifulFemaleLead looked at the various speculations about Anziran on Weibo, gritted his teeth sinisterly, and snorted coldly. Going against him will never end well. Banning Anziran is just the first step. What he wants to do is to make Anziran completely leave the esports industry and never play games again in this life. Just when BeautifulFemaleLead was in a good mood and scrolling through Weibo to see the excitement, the organizer finally responded. He quickly clicked in to see it. He almost threw his phone in anger after seeing it. After Anziran was banned, he actually went from a contestant to a season host. How is this possible? But the news from the official Weibo of the organizer cannot be false. Immediately afterwards, Anziran forwarded the message sent by the organizer and added, this season, I will accompany you in a new identity. This you naturally refers to his fans. Fans who are anxiously waiting for a response, seeing this news, don't know whether to celebrate Anziran's status upgrade from a contestant to a season host. Or should they be disappointed that they can't see his passionate competition this year? Of course, some people are worried. Originally, AEG's vice-captain Chen Lang was absent from this competition due to illness. Now Anziran, as the captain, is not participating in the competition. Is AEG going to accompany him this time? BeautifulFemaleLead found a water army and went to Anziran's Weibo to insult him with all kinds of ugly words. As for the beating, he couldn't announce it because of the agreement, so he deliberately led other fans to say that Anziran was in a bad state and would miss the game in order to maintain his winning rate, so that other teammates would take the blame. AEG is not Anziran's team alone. Other team members also have fan bases. Seeing these remarks, some fans were brainwashed and followed suit to question Anziran. Then Anziran's fans responded, and the fans of his own team actually fought each other. When Anziran found out, both sides were in opposition. More importantly, after Anziran said a few words, not only did he not stop the fight, but he was attacked by fans of other team members. He had no choice but to temporarily close his comment area. Use this rough way to stop the fight. What should we do now? Xiaoke looked at Anziran with a headache. Captain, tell me, why are you so impulsive? If AEG loses this year, I'm afraid the captain will not only be ridiculed by the crowd, but his reputation will also be damaged. With Yan here, we can't lose. Anziran was still calm. Don't worry about the outside world during this period, just focus on the game. Yan will take my place and lead you to win the championship. Nan Yan raised her eyelids and said nothing. However, Her lazy and calm demeanor let the teammates who were already familiar with her know that this boss was confident enough. Soon, the content of the team members' conversation changed. Sister Yanyan's strength is unquestionable. It seems that without the captain, we are not affected at all. Am I the only one who thinks that sister is actually better than the captain? What a coincidence, I feel the same way. Anziran felt that he seemed to be disliked by his teammates. Should he be a little fragile? Nanyan knocked on the table and interrupted their conversation. Her cold and indifferent eyes swept over the few people. Do you have confidence in this season? Of course. Since everyone is confident, let's go all out and prepare to win the championship this season. Come on. Hashtag. The matter was left untreated for a night, and public opinion fermented even more. Esports fans' evaluation of Anziran has become polarized. Everyone, including his fans, is waiting for his attitude. The next day, the game officially started. Early in the morning, Anziran also updated his Weibo. Hashtag although I'm not here, my heart is with you. I look forward to the first battle under the leadership of the acting captain Name Random, and we will shine. Name Random is a person who suddenly appears and disappears as quickly as a meteor. A video of abusing Anziran, the captain of AEG, made her famous. Many teams tried to find out her identity and invite her to join. So, this great player quietly joined AEG. But didn't AEG only have one female player among the new players? Or did they want to use any name as a trump card and expose her before the game? Just when everyone was curious, a newly registered Weibo account forwarded Anziran's message. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 173. Okay, leave it to me. Following this message, everyone crawled to the account. You can choose any name. Only then did they realize that this account was brand new and open today. As for the fans, there were only all the members of AEG. There was only that one message on the page, nothing else. But a few minutes later, a group of fans quickly poured in. The students of Class 4 of Grade 2 spontaneously came to cheer for their boss. Boss is the best, and boss will win. Boss, we will always support you. This year's competition will be more exciting because of you. Boss, we will cheer for you. A group of strong middle school style rushed towards them. Nanyan looked at these messages and pulled the corner of her mouth in disdain. But her hands were honest and she liked each one. They are all children, so it's okay to make mistakes, as long as they are willing to work hard to correct them. We always have to give them a chance to make a fresh start. Yan, are you nervous? Anziran stood in front of Nanyan in a suit and tie. He was the host, so he couldn't wear a team uniform and had to dress more formally. What's there to be nervous about? Nanyan turned off her phone and put it back in her pocket. She was wearing an AEG team uniform, a white t-shirt underneath, and a black pleated skirt, revealing two long, thin legs. She was flawlessly beautiful without makeup, like an anime character from a comic book. Her eyelids were half lifted, her eyebrows were slightly raised, and she was beautiful and unruly. Nanyan casually took out a lollipop from her pocket and handed it to him. Be a good host and don't worry about it. Oh. Anziran looked at the lychee-flavored lollipop in his hand with a complicated expression, sighed, and put it in his pocket. Xiaoke smiled and said, Captain, you can go without any worries. Anyway, we will protect the glory of AEG with Sister Yanyan. That's right, Captain, you can rest assured. Anziran. A bunch of conscienceless bastards. Hashtag. The competition venue. The on-site staff are in place. The organizers and investors have taken their seats. The audience has all entered. After the lighting engineer turned on the lights, the first to appear in front of the camera in the live broadcast room were the three hosts and commentators. Anziran sat on the left seat. On the first day, there were many projects to be carried out. When the audience was getting impatient, the opening was finally over and the competition officially began. The first round of qualifying, random matching. Each team will automatically qualify if they win 3 games. Because there are too many teams participating in the competition on the first day, multiple tracks will be held simultaneously. The online live broadcast will be divided into several rooms for netizens to choose to watch. Sister Yanyan, it's our turn. Xiaoke stood beside Nanyan and reminded in a low voice. They are the champion team of the previous session and have privileges. They will have an appearance in advance and then match their opponents. This is used to increase the exposure of the champion team and attract more readers to watch the championship team's game. Nanyan bit the lollipop in her mouth, threw the lollipop stick into the trash can and stood up. Then go on stage. Nanyan took the lead and walked calmly in front. The moment she entered the arena, all the lights shone on her. Nanyan narrowed her eyes slightly, and was very disgusted with the sudden light, and the breath on her body became a little colder. Her figure appeared on the big screen. The girl stared at the front expressionlessly, her eyes were both and murderous. Her beautiful face caused an uproar at the scene. On the live broadcast, the barrage paused for a few seconds and began to output crazily. "Ah, I know her," the female player officially announced by AEG, "oh my god, she is really beautiful. The little sister is so handsome, with an absolutely unique temperament. I declare that she will be my new wall from now on. Oh my god, is there really such a beautiful person in this world? When Nuwa created her, she must have been very careful, unlike me, who was just thrown with mud, woo woo woo. Wife, look at me, this will be my new wife in the future. Go away, upstairs, don't you see how old her sister is, be a girlfriend first. The little sister is so beautiful that both men and women can kill her. I admit that I am gay." Nanyan couldn't see the barrage messages, but could only hear the screams from the audience. After adapting to the lights for 2 seconds, she walked onto the stage. Xiaoke and others followed closely behind. "Shh everyone, be quiet for a moment." The host on the scene held the microphone and made a quiet gesture. "The team standing in front of us now is last year's champion team AEG. The players of AEG all waved to the audience, drawing cheers. After the cheers died down, the host said, but this time, the captain and vice-captain of AEG are both busy and cannot participate in this competition, so we invite the acting captain, Miss Nanyan, whose game account name is random, to say a few words." "Oh my god, is this true? The young lady is actually name is random. She is both beautiful and talented. Looking forward to the young lady's competition. Am I the only one who suspects that the video circulating online was deliberately hyped by Lingfeng Si Shao? That's unnecessary. You can let the opponent down in private competitions, but can you let the opponent down in a competition? Anziran would never do that. Wait for a young lady to perform live. Ad 1. Nanyan took the microphone. "It's my first time participating in a competition, so I don't have much to say. Let's wait and see the competition. That's it? Beautiful women really have their own personalities. Then let's watch the competition and look forward to their performance." The host almost didn't react, and Nanyan stuffed the microphone back. Looking at this divine face in front of him, he was stuck for a while before continuing her words. "It seems that Miss Nan is very confident. Okay, let's see which team AEG will play against in the first game. Please ask Miss Nanyan to randomly draw a team." Nanyan walked to the control panel. The camera came over and gave a close-up. The team names kept scrolling on the screen, but she didn't look at them and just pressed 1. The team name she pressed appeared on the big screen, Blackwing. "Please ask the AEG team to enter the competition room." There were staff on site who immediately took them there. Nan Yan sat in front of the computer and tried the feel first. Then she clicked the game button on the screen, entered her account and password, and logged in. The other 4 team members also logged in at the same time and appeared in the same team. The Blackwing players on the opposite side had been waiting for a long time. After they entered the game, the 2 sides were immediately matched. As the game started, their live broadcast room was instantly flooded with a large number of viewers. Hashtag. At the same time, Qin Ye had suspended the video conference and focused on watching the live broadcast on the computer. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 174. Wu Yu came in and handed in a stack of documents. He glanced at the display screen carefully, and then quickly retracted his eyes. He lowered his head and said, "Master, Miss Luo is outside." He also admired Luo Ling's persistence. Their master Qin had rejected her many times, openly and secretly, but he still persisted and didn't turn back even when he hit the wall. Moreover, they were now back in the imperial capital, and she was still chasing him. She was simply crazy. It was because Master Qin was cultivating himself and his temper was suppressed very well. Otherwise, Luo Ling probably really annoyed him. No matter which family's eldest daughter she was, he would never show mercy. Qin Ye didn't move his eyes away from the screen, and said 3 words indifferently and coldly, "Let her go." Wu Yu. He knew that this would be the result. But he certainly couldn't reply to Luo Ling with the original words. After leaving the office, Wu Yu walked to Luo Ling and said in a more subtle way, "Miss Luo, our master is busy and has no time to see you." Luo Ling looked a little ugly. She took the initiative to come to him. No matter how many times she came, the response she got was always this. Except that he had to take the initiative to see her for business. What else did that woman have besides a face? Why could she get an exception from him? But in a few days, there would be no exceptions from him. A dirty woman, with his character, would definitely treat her as garbage and throw her away. "Then please ask Assistant Wu to tell Mr. Qin that I want to treat him to a meal. If he has time, he can call me at any time." Luo Ling knew that she would not wait for this call. But she still had to say this. She also believed that one day, Qin Ye would regret his neglect and indifference to her now. In this world, only she and he are a perfect match. He is hers. "Okay, Miss Luo, I will definitely tell this to our young master." Luo Ling nodded proudly, then raised her chin, stepped on 10-centimeter high heels, and walked away with a slender waist. Wu Yu curled his lips. Even he doesn't like such a troublemaker, and he still wants to covet their young master? What a sweet dream. Compared with Miss Nan, the gap is not a little bit. Hashtag. First kill. 1.5 minutes into the game. The first kill appeared. This speed has already shocked the audience. Nan Yan calmly manipulated her game character, and used her moves to sweep away the other 2 opponents in one wave. Double kill. Triple kill. In 2 minutes, she killed 3 opponents in a row. Not to mention that the opponent couldn't react, even the teammates didn't react. The scene was silent. Even the barrage stopped, and it was blank for a while. Then, the screen began to float with shocked exclamation marks, and there were also words of excitement that could not be expressed in words, using "ah" to represent emotions. The camera understood the thoughts of netizens and the audience very well, and directly cut the game screen to Nan Yan's shot. A cold and indifferent face, a lollipop in her mouth, a casual and lazy posture. 2 minutes into the game, she has a triple kill record? If she is serious, can she kill more? The opponent is not a rookie who has just started playing games, but a professional team that can participate in esports competitions. Nan Yan didn't know that the camera was cut to her side. She controlled the task with both hands and said impatiently, "Quick battle, Don't waste time. Xiaoke and others. They didn't hesitate. It's obvious that she was too fast for them to keep up. Ah, goddess, a burst. How can she kill such a beautiful face with an expressionless face? Wife, look at me. The upstairs is farting, this is obviously my wife. Goddess, please marry me. Qin Lu looked at the words of love for Nan Yan on the barrage, and the coldness on his body gradually increased. How dare these men claim to be his child's husband? Ha ha. He wanted to see who had the guts to kidnap his child, the one he raised so carefully. Qin Lu quickly typed on the keyboard with a blank expression. His long and beautiful fingers were like playing the piano, beautiful and pleasing to the eye. But what he did was not so beautiful. He hacked into the live broadcast room system and directly blocked all the words that could be used to describe his child, such as husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, etc. After blocking, he returned to the live broadcast room, and the barrage looked much more pleasing to the eye. A string of hashtag. After Nan Yan asked for a quick victory, Xiaoke and his friends also sped up. After many days of hellish training and running in, they could barely keep up with Nan Yan's speed. The whole rhythm was unstoppable. After winning 3 games, they were automatically promoted. Their group became the fastest team to qualify. Anziran sat on the main stage, watching the announcement of AEG's qualification, and couldn't help but sigh secretly. The gap between him and Xiaomei is really huge. Xiaomei's ability is much stronger than his. Otherwise, let her be the captain of AEG. This idea popped up in Anziran's mind. Then he thought it was feasible. At that moment, he excitedly sent a message to Nan Yan. Yan Yan, how about you stay in AEG in the future, and let your 4th brother be the captain? The result. Nan Yan took a look and replied directly with 2 words, not. Anziran, why? Nan Yan, no time. Anziran was a little frustrated, but thinking that his younger sister was about to be a senior in high school, he really didn't have much time. It would not be too late to let her be the captain when she wanted to be a professional esports player. The first day's competition task was completed, and the rest of the time was free activities. Nan Yan went back to change out of her team uniform and pleated skirt, and put on a casual outfit, intending to meet with Bayuki in person. Coincidentally, the venue of the competition happened to be the city where Bayuki was. She just told him online that she was coming here. Bayuki immediately said excitedly that he was here too. And he pestered her to agree to meet him. After all, it was a relationship between boss and employee, so Nan Yan didn't resist meeting offline. After taking the phone, Nan Yan opened the door and was about to go out when she saw Xiaoke raising his right hand and knocking on the door. Seeing Nan Yan coming out, he quickly put his hand down. Sister Nan Yan, where are you going? Something happened, I'm going out. Nan Yan walked outside and closed the door. What do you want me for? Oh, nothing, you go first. Xiaoke smiled. I just wanted to ask you what to eat for lunch, but now it seems that it's not necessary. Well, I've made an appointment with someone to have lunch together, you don't have to worry about me. Yeah, okay. Nan Yan nodded to him and walked towards the elevator. Just as she was about to get on the elevator, someone suddenly called her. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 175. Nan Yan turned around and saw Bai Hoxuan. Bai Hoxuan smiled. Congratulations, Nan Yan, you won the first game so beautifully. When Nan Yan and the others entered the game, his team was also playing. After successfully qualifying, he saw the hot search. Then he went to find Nan Yan's video at that time. Seeing her operation, he couldn't believe that Nan Yan had such strength. Of course, he didn't really congratulate Nan Yan. On the contrary, he was almost crazy with anger. He absolutely couldn't let her continue to participate in the next game. Originally thought that if Anziran was removed, AEG would be bad and might not even qualify. As a result, the newly joined Nan Yan was better than him. Bai Hoxwan almost smashed his phone at that time. But thinking that she still owed him a meal, he could take this opportunity to prevent her from participating in the next game. At that time, AEG would definitely stop in the second round. You're welcome. I haven't congratulated you yet, but you've advanced. Nan Yan looked at Bai Hoxwan with a wicked smile. I hope we can meet in the second round. A hint of gloom flashed across Bai Hoxwan's eyes, but he quickly suppressed it and changed the subject, saying, Miss Nan still owes me a meal, how about tonight? Nan Yan raised her eyebrows, and the smile in her eyes deepened inexplicably. Okay, then you reserve a seat tonight, and I'll treat you to this meal. I've seen people looking for death, but I've never seen someone so impatient to die. I originally wanted to keep him until the end of the game. Now it seems that he thinks it's too long, and her money is too hot to handle. Okay, then it's settled. Bai Hoxwan didn't see the deep meaning in Nan Yan's eyes, and a smile of success hung on his face. Miss Nan, are you going out? Then I won't waste your time, and we'll see you tonight. When the time comes, he must taste this woman. She's so beautiful, she must be strong enough. As long as he thought that this was Anziran's sister, he was now somewhat uncontrollably excited. Nan Yan raised her eyebrows and curved her lips. See you tonight. Hashtag. Bai Yuki raised his head from time to time and looked in the direction of the door. After checking the time, he couldn't help but send another message to Nan Yan. Why God, have you arrived? Nan Yan just pushed the door in and saw the message from Bai Yuki, and replied, I'm here. Bai Yuki, where are you? Have you entered the door? Nan Yan had already seen him, put the phone back into her pocket, and walked towards him. Bai Yuki was anxiously waiting for his why God. Then he saw a woman wearing a mask and a baseball cap walk across from him, pull out a chair and sit down. He quickly stopped her. Don't sit, there are people here, go somewhere else. Nan Yan ignored him and sat down leisurely. Bai Yuki frowned and said unhappily, I told you, there are people here, don't you understand? Don't think that you can easily pick up rich men just because you are pretty. I am not in the mood today, hurry up and leave. Bai Yuki looks pretty good, and he is wearing a suit and tie, looking like a social elite and a rich second generation. He usually uses his own advantages to hook up with innocent girls. Of course, there are many who take the initiative to come up to him. If it were normal, he would definitely not refuse. But now he has something to do and doesn't have this mind. Nan Yan took off her mask slowly, looking at him leisurely with indifferent eyebrows and eyes. Then when are you in the mood? What do I? Bai Yuki was about to say that he was always free. As soon as he saw Nan Yan's face, his eyes followed the devil and stared at her straight. Even the words in his mouth changed. I'm free now, beautiful, what do you want to eat? I'll treat you. Aren't you busy? Nothing, nothing. Bai Yuki changed his words faster than turning a page. I was in a bad mood before, and now I see a beautiful woman, my mood has improved. Beauty, let's add each other as friends. As he said that, he took out his mobile phone diligently, turned on the scan, and wanted to scan Nan Yan's QR code. Nan Yan cooperated and took out her mobile phone and also got her own QR code. Bai Yuki scanned it excitedly, and when he saw the name that popped up, his face froze. Why? Nan Yan's WeChat name. Bai Yuki's reaction was still quite fast, and he asked in a trembling voice, why God? Nan Yan supported her chin with both hands and responded lazily. Bai Yuki. Bai Yuki. Damn, why God is actually a woman. And she is a super beauty. He was going to burst. This woman in front of him, who looks only about 18 or 19 years old, is so good at computer? God, why? Hello, God, why? I'm Bai Yuki. For the first time, Bayuki didn't look as flirtatious as before. He was so reserved and nervous that he couldn't even speak clearly. Well, then, Nan Yan looked at him leisurely. Well, then, oh, let's eat. Bayuki quickly called the waiter over. God, why, what do you want to eat? Just order it, don't save money for me. He hadn't recovered from God Y's amazing face, and he was in a state of euphoria. It was not until halfway through the meal that he finally accepted that God Y was the girl in front of him. God Y, what are you doing in T-City this time? If you need any help, just tell me. Bayuki patted his chest. I've been in T-City for so many years, I will do my best to help. Nan Yan said nonchalantly, it's not a big deal, I just came to participate in an esports competition. Why God, you actually participated in an esports competition, do you have any shame? Being too shocked, Bayuki couldn't help but speak out his heart. A computer tycoon going to participate in an esports competition, isn't that like an adult crushing a child? Nan Yan looked at him indifferently, and Bayuki realized that he had said the wrong thing and quickly covered his mouth. He was afraid that Nan Yan would hit him. After 2 minutes, seeing that Nan Yan ignored him, he couldn't bear his curiosity and asked again. Why God, are you so short of money? He remembered that Why God was very short of money, and he never refused any task, and most of the time, it was done in one night. To be honest, he felt for Nan Yan that she earned too little, and couldn't help but increase her share. But she obviously would earn more if she joined his company, but she didn't agree. I don't know what she thinks of me. Nan Yan looked at him calmly. Free. What do you mean? Bayuki didn't understand what she said. Participating in the competition is free. Nan Yan put down the tableware in her hand, picked up the napkin to wipe her mouth. For one person, a friendly competition. Bayuki said indignantly, why God, how can you like a gamer? This is too low. He patted his thigh with great pain, then pointed at himself and said, look at me. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 176. Huh, Nan Yan looked at him, you are so ugly. Bayuki. His self-esteem was hit 100 times. No, God why, although I'm not as good looking as you, I'm still a little haughty after all. Bayuki was very unconvinced. After all, he has always been quite satisfied with his appearance. Of course, to be honest, he is indeed very good looking, otherwise he would not be able to seduce little girls so easily. Today's little girls are all about looks. Nan Yan hit him mercilessly, among the men I know, you are the last in terms of looks. Bayuki. He's going to burst. How can you talk like this? He gritted his teeth and finally said earnestly, God why, you can't lower your standards for choosing a mate just because the other person is good looking. Only then did Nan Yan realize what he was talking about. Looking at him speechlessly, she explained, that's my brother. So that's it? Which team is your brother in? AEG. Bayuki felt a little regretful. He should have watched the live broadcast today. It's just that the performance of those players was unsatisfactory, making him too lazy to watch. It seems that he must take time out tomorrow to see God Y's torture scum. After 2 hours of eating, Nan Yan and Bayuki finished their meal. Before leaving, Bayuki did not forget to sincerely invite Nan Yan to him again. The result was another ruthless rejection. Bayuki said that he would not give up. Returned to the hotel where we were temporarily staying. Anziran came to her and talked about Baihoxwen asking her to treat her to dinner. Yan, you must not go alone, I want to accompany you. That Baihoxwen was not a good person at all, so he was worried and asked Nan Yan to go alone. Okay, Nan Yan thought for a while and told him, then, take care of yourself when the time comes. Anxiron. How come this sounds like he is disabled? In a flash it was afternoon. Nan Yan received a call from Bai Hoxuan. Nan Yan, I have reserved a place at Jade Palace, you can come directly. Can. Nan Yan replied with 2 words calmly and then hung up. Fourth brother, let's go. Anxiron quickly picked up his bag. There are bricks, hammers, awls and other weapons hidden inside. If a fight really breaks out, he is the one who wants to protect his sister, so how can he do it with bare hands? Jade's eye. Bai Hoxuan poured the added red wine into the decanter and asked the waiter to bring it to them in a moment. Then he sat at the dining table and waited for Nan Yan to come over. In addition to him, there were people sent by Luo Ling who were also sitting around the dining table. One by one, they temporarily restrained their auras and behaved like ordinary people. Not long after, Nan Yan and Anxiron arrived in the room. When Anxiron saw the dining table almost full of people, he couldn't help but ask coldly. I didn't mean to invite you to dinner, why is there anyone else? Bai Hoxuan raised his chin and said arrogantly, can't I find a few friends to come with me? He guessed that Anxiron would follow. This was exactly what he wanted. He dealt with them both at once and saved him a lot of trouble. Otherwise, he would still look for opportunities to cause trouble for Anxiron. It's just a meal. You can't afford it, Bai Hoxuan deliberately provoked him. Anxiron thought that Bai Hoxuan had bad intentions. Especially when there were several other men sitting here, he was worried that he would have a wrong idea and be detrimental to Nan Yan. He directly pulled Nan Yan's sleeve, trying to get her to leave. Nan Yan turned her hand and pressed Anxiron's shoulder, her cold eyes filled with a cold light, and said leisurely, of course you can afford it, just order it. Nan Yan is still generous, not as stingy as your fourth brother. Bai Hoxuan smiled a little more as he thought about the wonderful night that would follow. Fourth brother, sit down. Nan Yan pushed Anxiron down on one of the 2 empty seats, then sat down himself and casually told him, eat more later. Only when you are full can you have the strength to fight. Although, he may not necessarily be used. At least you have the ability to protect yourself. Yan Yan. Anxiron was uneasy. There were only 2 of them, Bai Hoxuan had 7 or 8 of them, and they were all men. He is not afraid of anything, he is worried that something will happen to Nan Yan. Nan Yan knew what he wanted to say and comforted him, calm down, don't look like you haven't seen much of the world. Anxiron. He was almost dying of anxiety, but the little sister's attitude. Forget it, if that bastard Bai Hoxuan dares to mess around later, he will risk his life to protect Yan Yan. After the food was served, the red wine was brought in by the waiter. Bai Hoxuan waited for the waiter to pour wine for everyone, and after leaving the room, he started to get down to business. What happened yesterday? Let's have a drink together and that's it. How about that? Bai Hoxuan. Nan Yan held the goblet and asked with a half smile, I have fulfilled the 3 conditions, what else do you want now, Liao? Bai Hoxuan's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect that Nan Yan would have this attitude. Wasn't this meal just to make amends to him? Now she actually uses this reason to drink a glass of wine. Is it reasonable for her to do so? Bai Hoxuan also reacted quickly and changed his words immediately, I was wrong. Let's drink this glass of wine and put aside our past grudges and all the grudges will be gone. How about that? That's fine. Nan Yan seemed to accept this reason reluctantly. She shook the wine glass at him and lowered her head to take a sip. Anxiron wanted to drink for her, but he didn't have time, so he could only drink the wine in front of him out of courtesy. 5 minutes later, both of them lay on the table. Bai Hoxuan's concealed emotions were exposed, and he waved his hand with a grin, take the person away. Hashtag. Nan Yan and Anxiron were taken to the hotel they had booked in advance. In the car, she had secretly fed Anziran the antidote. When he woke up, she signaled him not to move. When they entered the room, Anziran was thrown to the ground. "Take her to the bedroom first, wait for me for a while, I will break Anziran's hands first." Baihoxwan took out a hammer from Anziran's backpack, squatted beside Anziran, and was about to take action. Anziran, who had been pretending to be unconscious, suddenly opened his eyes and punched Baihoxwan in the eye. "Ah!" Baihoxwan screamed. The men around him saw this and rushed to help. Before they could get there, they heard two more screams. The two who were supporting Nan Yan were now covering their arms, sweating profusely. Anziran stood up and kicked Baihoxwan several times, and even grabbed a hammer and smashed it on his head. After he knocked Baihoxwan unconscious, he wanted to save Nan Yan. When he turned around, he found that in the room, except for him and him, everyone else was lying down. Anziran's eyes widened immediately. "Yan Yan, did you knock down all these people? What else? Are they killing each other?" Nan Yan rubbed her wrist and walked to Baihoxwan, who had fainted. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 177. Anziran hadn't recovered from the shock of his younger sister being a martial arts master. He saw Lan Yan take the hammer from him and smash it on Baihoxwan's right hand. "Ah!" A shrill and miserable howl. Baihoxwan was so painful that he woke up from his coma. "My hand! My hand!" He stared at his deformed hand with wide eyes and screamed. "Shh!" Nan Yan knocked the floor with a hammer, and said in a cold tone, "Don't make noise. If you make noise again, I will smash every bone in your hand." Baihoxwan could feel that Nan Yan didn't seem to be joking. After all, the severe pain from his right hand clearly told him that she was so daring. "You." Baihoxwan was so painful that his facial features were distorted and he was terrified. "What do you want to do?" "Actually, I didn't want to do anything, I just wanted to tell you that you should pay back the 100 million you took from me." Baihoxwan's eyes widened. "You're dreaming. The money is his once it's in his hands. He will never give it back. Then let's see whether your bones are harder or my hammer is harder." Nan Yan's tone was cold, but she was extremely fierce. She didn't even blink, raised her hand, and fell down in one go. Anziran's scalp was numb when he watched from the side. After a hammer, Baihoxwan let out a hoarse scream, and then his eyes rolled back and he fainted. Yan, Yan. Anziran's voice was trembling. "We are law-abiding citizens, it's okay to beat him, but this, isn't it inappropriate?" He never knew that his little sister was so cruel. Nan Yan raised her eyes slowly. "Either get out of the way or shut up." "Anziran." He shut up. Baihoxwan fainted for less than a minute, and was forcibly awakened by Nan Yan again. The severe pain from both hands, and Nan Yan's impatient hammering on the ground in front of him, scared him out of his wits. "I'll give it to you, can I give it back to you? Stop hitting me." He was scared to death. Tears and snot were streaming down his face, and he had no intention of resisting at all. But the next second, he said with a sad face, "My hand, I can't get the phone." Nan Yan hit his right hand again. Baihoxwan screamed again, but the next second he found that his deformed hand had returned to its original state. In addition to the pain, his fingers could move. He couldn't help but feel lucky that Nan Yan didn't really break his hand. Taking out his mobile phone, he trembled and opened the mobile banking. He was unwilling and reluctant, but he couldn't resist the fear of Nan Yan, and resigned himself to transferring money. "When you pay back the money, you'd better think about how to calculate the interest." Nan Yan's words made Baihoxwan shiver, and his hands trembled even more. Finally, he gritted his teeth and transferred an extra 10 million to Nan Yan. The money was lent out for 1 day, and it came back with an extra 10 million. "This interest is not bad." Nan Yan was barely satisfied. Bai Hoxwen was unsure of her attitude, and begged for mercy. "Miss Nan, please forgive me, I will never go against you again. Fourth master, please, help me plead for mercy, I was blind and didn't recognize the real man, I really don't dare to." Anziran almost wanted to kick him. But considering that Nan Yan was indeed overdoing it, he advised, "Yan Yan, we got the money back, how about going back?" He was afraid that Bai Hoxwen would call the police again. Nan Yan lazily threw the hammer on the ground. "Fourth brother, go back. As for the rest, wait for his next move." Anziran took the bag he brought with him and the things he brought with him, and then left with Nan Yan. "Yan Yan, when did you learn Kung Fu? Those guys don't look like show-offs, but you actually took them down by yourself." Anziran only had time to think about what happened to Nan Yan now. It only took him 3 or 2 minutes to subdue Bai Hoxwen. As a result, in just 3 or 2 minutes, she had knocked down so many people. "This is too amazing." Nan Yan said casually, "It's okay. I've fought a lot, so I'm a little stronger." She used to fight in the life and death ring. She did everything to make money. Fighting in black boxing makes money, but fighting in the life and death ring makes more money. In order to develop their research institute, she paid almost everything. But Nan Yan exuded an extremely depressed aura. Anziran felt the sadness and depression in her body, thinking that she was thinking of what she had experienced in her adoptive parents' home before, and suddenly felt distressed. "Yan Yan, it's all over, don't think about it." He put his hand on Nan Yan's shoulder and looked at her seriously. "You have grown up, don't worry about others, just do your best, and the fourth brother will always be your backer." Nan Yan's emotions were interrupted by Anziran and she got out of that darkness. She lowered her eyes. "Fourth brother, thank you. Why are you being so polite to your own fourth brother? You are not allowed to be so distant, understand? A bunch of blind people in the family, they don't love their biological daughters/sisters, but love an adopted daughter who has no blood relationship. They will regret it in the future. Yanyan doesn't need them either. He and Grandpa are enough." Anziran had some malicious thoughts in his heart. "When they find out how good my sister is, but my sister doesn't forgive them, let them regret it." After a while, Anziran said solemnly, "Yanyan, if Bai Hoxwen calls the police today, you can say it was me. Don't worry about anything else, okay? If he calls the police, it's not certain who will go in." Nan Yan's eyes were cold. "If he still has a bit of brains, he won't call the police." "That's right, he was the one who made the mistake first, we were acting in self-defense." Hashtag. In the hotel room, Bai Hoxwen endured the severe pain and called Luo Ling. "Cousin, why didn't you tell me that Nan Yan was so powerful?" He originally thought that Nan Yan was just an ordinary girl, and never thought that she would have such strength. But she obviously drank that glass of wine. The wine was drugged. No matter how powerful she would not be able to resist under the control of the drug. And Anziran. Before, the two of them were pretending to faint. "What happened to her?" Luo Ling frowned. She was in a bad mood because she didn't meet Qin Lu, so her tone was naturally not very good. "Don't tell me that you, with so many people, couldn't deal with her and let her run away. You still want to deal with her? Cousin, she dealt with us all." Bai Hoxwen was resentful. "She is a woman, and she dealt with the people you sent in less than 5 minutes. She crippled my hand and cheated me out of 10 million. Cousin, you have to help me get revenge." Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 178. Luo Ling's expression suddenly changed. "Is everything you said true? What's the point of lying to you?" Bai Hoxwen gritted his teeth. "Cousin, let me remind you, that woman is definitely not a good person, she was really cruel." "Of course, they are not good people either. If Anziran and Nan Yan hadn't woken up, their fate would have been much more miserable than what he had now. If he suffered a loss this time, he would get it back sooner or later. He almost thought that his hand was really useless. But unexpectedly, it was just dislocated. She smashed his right hand back because he wanted to transfer money to her. His left hand is still deformed. He needs to go to the hospital and ask the doctor to help him. It seems that I underestimated her. Luo Ling squeezed the phone tightly. Hoxuan, can you find another chance? Cousin, please spare me. My hands were disabled by her this time. If I do it again, she will probably destroy my legs. You can find someone else. Bai Hoxuan is not stupid. On the contrary, he is shrewd. Although he didn't know what kind of hatred there was between Luo Ling and Nan Yan, he knew that Luo Ling would never give up easily. His revenge would be avenged sooner or later, so there was no need to trouble her again. Luo Ling was so angry that she wanted to lose her temper. But Bai Hoxuan has already hung up the phone on her. Damn it! It seems that she wants to find other ways to deal with that little bitch. In the next game, Bai Hoxuan withdrew from the game due to a hand injury. Nanyan and the members of AEG met the King team led by the deputy team in the promotion match on the second day. Crushed directly. 2 wins out of 3, and the battle was over in 10 minutes. During the live broadcast, several hosts were also commenting. A host said regretfully, "It's such a pity that the King team didn't even make it to the finals this time and stopped in the promotion round. I guess this is the worst record in King's history." Anziran raised his eyebrows. "It's normal for you to meet my team." Haha, it seems that Captain An trusts his teammates very much. No wonder he can sit here with peace of mind. With my sister here, I can rest assured. She is much stronger than me. If she didn't have time, I would have left AEG to her. Anziran's tone was very proud. He looks like a crazy girl. The other 2 hosts. I was just trying to be polite and wanted to get over this topic. Is it okay for you to be the host with such personal emotions? Bai Hoxuan's face was ashen in the background. If there were no accidents, his team would still be able to reach the finals even if their results were worse. Now he was eliminated in the second round. He would never swallow this breath like this. He can't touch Nan Yan, and he can't touch his teammates like Anziran. Hashtag. That night, Little K and several other team members went to eat. After eating, we were chatting and laughing as we went to take a taxi. We were suddenly surrounded by a group of people who appeared out of nowhere and beat us with sticks. When no one could stand up, they all ran away again. Yan, something happened to Little K and the others. Anziran stood up suddenly after receiving the call. Nan Yan put out her phone and asked, "Where are they?" "Hospital." Half an hour later, Nan Yan and Anziran rushed to the hospital. Several people's injuries were treated and sent to the ward. Anziran's eyes turned red when he saw that his teammates had either broken arms or legs. What happened? Little K's left arm was in a cast, and his right leg was also in a cast. He said with a pale face, "Captain, we were after dinner and wanted to take a taxi back. Suddenly a group of people rushed towards us and we were beaten before we could react. We didn't offend anyone in T-City. It was definitely Bai Hoxuan's grandson." Little K was very angry. As an esports player, your hands are the most important. His arm is broken now, and even if he recovers it, it won't be as sensitive as before. It is very likely that his career will be cut off like this. His dream, his honor. It's all over. You guys need to take good care of your injuries first. I will definitely find out. No matter who did it, I will definitely make him pay the price. Anziran was filled with anger and wanted to kill someone. If it was really Bai Hoxuan who did this, he would ask him to repay double the amount. Nan Yan walked up to Little K after a few seconds of silence. She directly pressed the call bell on the bedside. Soon, the nurse came. What's wrong? Open their casts. When the nurse heard her unreasonable request, she controlled her temper and explained with good professional ethics, their bones are broken and they need to be fixed with a plaster. If you don't understand, go check it out online and don't make trouble for us. Nan Yan said quietly, recovery with traditional plaster fixation is too slow. And even if the bones grow well in the future, follow-up training is needed to restore the coordination of the limbs, but in most cases, only 80% of the limb functions can be restored. It will ruin their careers. I am confident that they can recover 100%. Now, take off the casts from their bodies and I'll treat them. She quite liked this group of teenagers. Therefore, she couldn't let them leave the career they loved just like this. Are you kidding? The nurse looked at the girl in front of her in disbelief. At most, he is 18 or 19 years old. He is probably a medical student. He has learned some theoretical knowledge and thinks he is a miracle doctor? Anziran looked at Nan Yan and saw that she was not joking. He couldn't help asking, Yan Yan, can you really make Xiaoke and the others completely well? Yes. Sir, are you going to make trouble with this lady? The nurse had never seen such unreasonable family members of patients. Xiaoke asked, Sister Nan Yan, if you come to treat us, how long will it take for us to get well? 1 month, you can return to the court. Nan Yan didn't say half a month. Shen Junking's fracture, she asked him to recover in half a month. But Xiaoke and the others are different. It's not enough to just recover, they also need to let their nerve reaction speed and hand speed return to their peak state. And this process also takes about half a month. So, she said it would take a month. Then I'll leave our injuries to you, sister. Xiaoke turned to look at the nurse, Nurse, help us remove the plaster. Others also said, Nurse, help us remove the plaster. They chose to believe Nan Yan. After such a long time together, they also know Nan Yan's character to some extent. She will never speak up if she can't do something. If she says it's okay, then it must be okay. This is really nonsense. How can the nurse just remove the plaster for them like this? Each of them has a broken arm or a broken leg, and there are multiple fractures on their bodies. What if something goes wrong after removing the cast? But their attitude is firm, so she has to go to the attending physician and let the attending physician persuade them. Not long after, the nurse came back with the doctor. Who is it? Want to remove the plaster of these people. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 179. Is it you? The doctor looked at Nan Yan angrily. The nurse told him that it was a little girl. Maybe she was just a girl who was just studying medicine, and she didn't know the heights of the world, but she actually said that these injuries could be cured within a month without plaster fixation. He has been practicing medicine for more than 20 years, and has dealt with not only 7,000 to 8,000, but also 4,000 to 5,000 patients with fractures. He has never heard that a broken bone can be completely healed in 1 month. It's me. Nan Yan responded calmly, with a very polite tone, please help me, if something happens, I will bear the responsibility. It would take a lot of time for her to remove these casts by herself. The doctor asked angrily, how can you afford it? If they become disabled in the future, can you pay for their lives? Nan Yan explained, I am sure that they will heal in a faster way. They will be fine. Even if something happens to them, it has nothing to do with your hospital. If you insist on doing this, then leave the hospital and you can do whatever you want, but as long as they are here, I am responsible for my patients and cannot let you mess around. The doctor had a very clear bottom line and was not moved at all. Little girl, don't think that you have learned a little bit and just think that you are the reincarnation of Hua. When human life is at stake, you must be careful and don't say big words casually. Nan Yan. Her current physical age is indeed a flaw. Even if she told the truth, no one would believe her. Anziran, Xiaoke and others had unconditional trust in her, but the doctor refused to believe her, which would cause her a lot of trouble. In desperation, Nan Yan dialed Tao Qingming's phone number. Little friend Nan, you are such a busy person, how come you have time to contact me? As soon as he answered the phone, Tao Qingming's hearty laughter came over. Nan Yan said a few polite words to him, then went straight to the point. Mr. Tao, I need to trouble you about something. What's the matter? Just say it, little friend Nan. Tao Qingming looked very loyal. I'm at the #1 traditional Chinese medicine hospital in T-City, and I want to take over the treatment of a few patients, but the attending doctor doesn't believe in my medical skills. I hope you can prove it for me. It's easy to talk about. Give him your phone and I'll talk to him. Nan Yan handed the phone to the doctor. Please answer the phone. The doctor naturally heard what she was talking to Tao Qingming, but he didn't quite understand it. He took the phone and put it to his ear. When he heard the other person announcing his identity, his expression suddenly changed. Even across the phone, his attitude became very respectful and his tone was extremely exciting. A few minutes later, he said respectfully, "Okay, don't worry, I will try my best to cooperate with Miss Nan." Then, he held the mobile phone in both hands and returned it to Nan Yan. "Ms. Nan, I'm sorry. I didn't know the truth before and said some rude words." "It's okay, you are also responsible for the patient." Nan Yan's expression was very indifferent. "Next, I will ask you to help." Anziran, Xiaoke and others looked at this complete reversal and couldn't help but wonder who Nan Yan had called. Surprisingly, just one phone call made the doctor who was so forceful just now seem like a completely different person. But now is not the time to ask that. Nan Yan is going to prepare medicine for Xiaoke and the others. The doctor called a few more nurses to help remove the plasters on little K and the others. And he personally took Nan Yan to the Chinese medicine clinic. The plaster was removed and the plastered area was cleaned. It took nearly another hour before Nan Yan and the doctor came back. Nan Yan had several large jars of medicine in his hand. Apply these ointments thickly to their injured areas, and then wrap them with gauze. Several nurses quickly applied ointment to little K and others. That is to say, the pharmaceutical equipment here is very complete, and it is completely mechanical and intelligent, which greatly shortens the time for refining pharmaceutical ointments. If Nan Yan had done it by hand, it would have taken less than 10 hours to finish. After applying the medicine, they were surprised to find. After applying these ointments, the broken bone feels a little cold, and it doesn't hurt so much anymore. I thought it was my imagination. Do you feel the pain is relieved too? Yeah, I don't feel the pain anymore, it's a little cool, like I'm applying ice. It's amazing. I believe that Sister Nanyan can definitely restore us to our original appearance. The injured people finally lost their grimaces, and began to look forward to their futures again. When Anziran saw this, he felt a little relieved, and then a hint of gloom slipped through his eyes. He called Nanyan and went outside the ward. "Yanyan, we have no choice but to withdraw from this competition. Little K and the others were all injured. When we went to dinner this time, not only the players who played, but also other substitute players and staff who were accompanying them all went together. Together, there were almost 10 people. They are all lying inside now. And the game requires 5 people to play. He's on suspension again. Only Nanyan himself has no way to continue competing. As long as I am still here, we will not quit this competition. The champion can only be AEG." Nan Yan's tone was very calm. She raised her eyes and looked at Anziran. Leave the affairs of the contestants to me. You take care of them, and I'll go out to do some errands. Anziran heard the meaning of her words and quickly stopped her. Yan Yan, don't mess around. You are a girl, you can't beat them in numbers. Fourth brother, don't worry, I will be fine. Nan Yan reached out and patted him on the shoulder, then walked past him. Anziran wanted to chase, but Xiao Kei's voice called him from the ward. Thinking of Nan Yan's terrifying skills. Thinking again, the other party didn't even leave any information. Nan Yan probably couldn't find it even if she went to find it. If she can't find anyone, she will come back by herself. Thinking of this, he stopped and turned back to the ward. Hashtag. Nan Yan's expression was indifferent, and a layer of coldness floated in her eyes. Her hands quickly tapped on the keyboard, and soon she found the surveillance in front of the restaurant. The appearance of the group of people was completely recorded. Then, she began to check their current whereabouts. 10 minutes later, the location was locked. She put away the notebook, and went directly to settle accounts with them. Before entering the elevator, her mobile phone rang again. It's 10 o'clock in the evening now. It's someone's bedtime call. Nan Yan licked her lips, took out her phone and answered it. Yan Yan, are you asleep? A deep and pleasant voice came through the receiver. It's just that he's out for a few days and can't meet, but this man calls her every day, which is more punctual than checking on her regularly. Nan Yan walked into the elevator, pressed the floor, and said honestly, no, I'm busy. Qin Lu poured a glass of water and sat at the head of the bed. Huh? What are you busy with? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 180. My teammate is injured and needs my help. Nan Yan lied without changing her expression. She has experience in deceiving Qin Lu. She couldn't tell him directly that she was going to pick up the trash. Otherwise, Qin Lu could educate her over the phone. Qin Lu did not doubt her words, and warned, then don't work too late, go to bed early after work, you know. Okay, Nan Yan responded obediently. Before Qin Lu was about to hang up the phone, he thought of Mrs. Qin who came to get angry with him today. He hesitated and said, kid, Grandma misses you very much. After the game, can you come to the imperial capital? Nan Yan did not hesitate and agreed directly, okay, then I will go directly to the imperial capital after the game tomorrow. When the time comes, I will send someone to pick you up. A faint smile appeared on Qin Lu's lips, then, brother, I want to say good night to you in advance. Good night, brother. Nan Yan hung up the phone, just as the elevator reached the first floor. She left the hotel, hailed a car outside, and got into the car with a faint chill flowing around her body. Hashtag. Bar. Private room. After doing a job today and earning a lot of money, Taihu and a group of brothers were drinking here. What a bunch of losers. There are more than a dozen of them. They thought they could let us hang out for a while, but they turned out to be like logs, standing and being beaten. I have never made money so easily. Haha, boss, don't tell me, if there are more jobs like this, why should we worry? Come on, have a drink. Big brother is treating you today. If you've had enough, go find a girl and have a good time. Thank you, boss. A group of people slammed the table excitedly and started drinking. While he was drinking, the door was suddenly kicked open. Who is it? You just kicked in our door. Tai Hu had a fierce look on his face and turned his head to look angrily in the direction of the door. When he found a pretty and outrageous little girl walking in from outside, his eyes suddenly narrowed. The person next to him was also smart. He walked over quickly, closed the door directly, and locked it. Tai Hu rubbed his hands and smiled obscenely. Little beauty, are you here to have fun, or did you go to the wrong private room? But even if you go the wrong way, don't even think about getting out. Gaga ha 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 ha, come and drink with my brothers. I'll take good care of you. Your benefits are indispensable. Nan Yan's indifferent face is covered with a refreshing coldness, and her gleaming peach blossom eyes are like ice. That's right, you are the ones I'm looking for. Are you looking for us? Taihu found this a bit strange. Why, do you know me? But it's okay if we don't know each other. After a while, we can get to know each other deeply, don't you think? Ha ha ha. How can a group of people care about drinking? Such a beautiful little fairy came to my door automatically, just like a little sheep falling into a pack of wolves. There are no bones or scraps left that will be eaten. Taihu couldn't hold back his impulse and grabbed Xiang Nanyan. Before he could touch her, Nanyan raised her foot and kicked him hard in the stomach. The 1.8-meter tall man, weighing 90 kilograms, was kicked upside down and landed on the coffee table filled with wine bottles. There was a loud crashing sound, and he lay in the glass debris, crying and howling in pain. Glass shards punctured his body, and blood slowly flowed out. It was like pressing the pause button. Everyone looked at the scene in shock and couldn't believe it. A little girl whose thighs are not as thick as their arms can have such strength to kick people away. The next second, they realized that the girl in front of them was not a troublemaker, but was here to cause trouble for them. At this moment, a group of people waved their fists, trying to take down the person first. Nanyan's eyes were cold, without any warmth, and he showed no mercy in his attacks. The thin body moved quickly among the group of men, leaving behind screams and the horrifying sound of bones being broken wherever it went. A few minutes later, the ground was covered with debris. Each of these gangsters who bullied Little K and the others can stand up again. After beating the person, Nanyan arrogantly dialed 110 in front of them and sent a compressed video folder to the police station's mailbox. There are the crimes they have committed over the years. There was no murder or arson, but they did a lot of stealing, robbery, coercion and inducement. There are also criminal facts such as illegal trading of pornographic products, prostitution, and prostitution with women, all of which are included. What awaits them is spending the rest of their lives in prison. Hashtag. After coming out of the bar, Nanyan exhaled slowly, took out his mobile phone, and made a call. Bayuki, do me a favor. God, why? Tell me. Bayuki's tone was a little excited. Ah. The goddess actually took the initiative to call him. And there is something else I need his help with. It's finally time for him to gain favor. Find 4 people who know how to play games and help me play a few games tomorrow. Little K and the others can't play, so they can only find foreign aid. And the only person she knew in T-City who could help was Bayuki. Bayuki quickly recommended himself. God, why, do you think I can do it? Okay, just a few of them, as long as they know how to play games, come over and join in the numbers. She flew them alone. Then I'll find a few people and take them there tomorrow to meet you. Well, at 8:30 in the morning, T-City Science and Technology Museum. Contact me when you arrive. Clear. Although Bayuki is a bit offline, he is quite reliable. After hanging up the phone, he immediately contacted several subordinates. He also specially picked a few handsome ones. He hopes to use his beauty to seduce Nanyan. Hashtag. Enziron has not left, and he is looking after his teammates in the hospital. It was past 11 o'clock when Nanyan came back, and the injured people had already fallen asleep. After all, some calming herbs were added to Nanyan's ointment, and the body was injured and the loss was too great, so he needed more rest. Enziron asked softly, Yan Yan, did you find those people? In fact, he secretly thought that Nanyan must not have found them. He returned empty-handed. Nanyan said lightly, well, I have already dealt with them and sent them to the police station. Enziron. This world is too fantasy, and he is a little unable to accept it. How could his cute little sister suddenly become so cruel? There is no transition at all. But they just took the money to do the work, and the culprit is Bai Hoxuan. Nan Yan didn't need to ask Taihu and his group about this. When investigating them, she found the chat records between Bai Hoxuan and Taihu. How do you plan to deal with Bai Hoxuan? Nan Yan has many ways to make Bai Hoxuan live a life worse than death. But now the ones who are hurt are Anziran's teammates, and she wants to ask for their opinions. Anziran's face is solemn. After a long silence, he looked at Nan Yan seriously and said, Yan Yan, can you let the fourth brother solve it? This is a grudge between us. You have helped us a lot, but we want to take revenge ourselves. Nan Yan nodded, you decide, I will provide you with all the help.